Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shout at the Oval podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to be back with another guest. It's another first teamer, and it is of course Glentoran centre forward David Fisher. David, welcome to the podcast. Brilliant to have you on.
Thank you for having me on.
So David, I'm going to start with you where I start with all my guests, and I take it way back to your first memories of football growing up. You obviously grew up in London.
Yeah.
So where did it all start from you?
Ooh, it was definitely my dad. So it was, what was it, about six, seven was when first sort of started getting into team football. My dad was the coach, so obviously started playing from there. Did little tournaments here and there, and then obviously grew like my interest in that and everything, and then playing, so it was for a team called Red Hill Town, and we were playing some obviously just local sides. And first of all, I got picked up actually by Palace on trial when I think it was 8. So first of all went over there, and then had a few months there, and then my dad's a big Wimbledon fan, so he organised a friendly against Wimbledon, and then basically we played them, beat them, and then basically we just managed to basically I played well. So they then called me back and said, "Oh, would you like to come and try it out here?" And actually the coach was also at Crystal Palace too, so like I sort of knew him from there as well. So then that's how I guess all started, just from that.
So were you at Wimbledon from a young age then?
From under 9s, and like we started off in, it was called the Epsom Manure League, which is just like Sunday league basically. But after a year, Wimbledon got promoted to the Football League, so then they went into proper academy status, and then that's basically just from then on started playing academy, basically all the way through the age groups and obviously into the first team.
So when you were at Wimbledon, so how many years were you there then? From 8 to basically 21?
8 till 21. I had a little gap for a season. It was COVID season where I was offered a contract, but I turned it down, and just a few disagreements and everything like that, and I went off and played at Hampton for that season. So yeah, other than that, straight through.
So have you always been a centre forward, always been a striker?
I haven't always been a striker or centre forward. I started off at the wing, and then under 12s, under 13s, they sort of moved me to centre back, and it was kind of for my game understanding a little bit, as I didn't really understand the game as well tactically and everything like that. So playing from the back, I could see everything and learn the game a bit better, and then I moved back up top for a few years, and then when I got to the scholar seasons, 17s, 18s, I moved back to winger, and then from 17, 18, 19, all the way up till I came here, I was playing on the left wing. So it was only Warren who started playing me up top, and yeah, I mean that's last season was my first season playing as a central striker,
right?
In men's football anyway. So yeah, I'm learning all the time, and obviously this season I'm playing a slightly different role to last season as well, which is also something that is also contributing to helping me learn a lot more. So yeah, I haven't always played.
When your first sort of taste then of men's senior football, was that when you went on loan to a team called South Park?
South Park, yes. South Park, wow. That was a youth loan. So essentially when you're in England, you're on a scholarship for your under 17 and under 18 season. So if you go on loan during then, it's called a youth loan. And that was my first experience of men's football, and that was the biggest eye-opener I think I ever had, like playing academy football and then going into men's football, and especially that sort of level, right, where, let's face it, they're not technically that as great, but in what they make up for their technical sort of lack of technical ability is just the physicality and willingness to sort of run, even though they're like maybe 3 stone overweight, they'll still run, they'll still fight and everything like that. And it's just pure, like, say purely for the love, there's a lot more money in there now, but like a lot of them are on sort of 50 quid, like, or covering expenses, like, so it was an eye opener to say the least.
And the facilities, I'm sure it was a change in facilities being at around Wimbledon and then going there.
Yeah, so they actually had so previously they had a grass pitch, and basically on the side of the grass pitch they had like a five-a-side Astro, and we'd train on that five-a-side Astro because the pitch was just terrible. So we'd train on a five-a-side pitch and just basically do five-a-side for a Tuesday and Thursday session if we didn't play on a Tuesday. So yeah.
Your second loan spell was that Carshalton Athletic? Is that the name of the team?
Yeah, Carshalton Athletic. Yeah.
And what was that like as a move for you?
Yeah, so that was after that sort of COVID season. No, it wasn't. Sorry, that was before. So that was we just come back from COVID. That's it. And it was pre-season, and then I went out on loan for sort of pre-season, and they just said to me, look, we'll take you in, we want to see you first. So I had to actually play a game, like a trial game, I guess, essentially first, and then I played really well in that game, and they were just like, yeah, we'll take you. And then he was a manager called Peter Adeni, and honestly he's one of the, I still speak to him like every now and then today, and he's one of the best people, him and Keith. They just sort of guided me through like this was, I guess, probably my first proper sort of loan spell, because it was only South Park was really on, I think it was like 8 games or something, or 10 games or something. This was when I was properly started, like, and good players as well. So they sort of guided me through that, and I think it was 6 goals, 6 assists in 6 games, or something like that. And I was flying with them, and yeah, like that was a proper good like little spell for me. So yeah,
there's so many players I speak to in this podcast about COVID season and sort of what it did for their careers, and I suppose a player in at your age at that stage probably was a bit of a frustration. It really sort of put a halt on it, did it?
Yeah, so it was that season that was COVID. So it was kind of tricky. So I had a 3-month extension to my scholarship at Wimbledon, I think it was. So it was a 3-month extension, and that ended in September, on the 1st of September, I think it was. And basically, during that 3 months, that's when I was on loan at Carshalton. And then my 3 months ended at 3 months scholarship sort of extension ended, and then that's when I sort of broke off and went to Hampton. Took the step up to the National League South, and I started doing really well, and I hadn't signed obviously my pro terms with Wimbledon at that point, so like I had like decent sort of clubs sort of sniffing around, and I couldn't go anywhere because obviously COVID sort of restricted that. So that was a little bit of a frustration for me at that stage, and it sort of restricted me to sort of staying at Wimbledon. But saying that, it was the disagreement that I had was really with the way it was being run. But then my 18s manager got the job at Wimbledon, Mark Robinson, and that's when I signed back at Wimbledon. That's when I decided to go for it and sign on pro terms. There is when he came back. So then I guess sort of that frustration sort of came away when sort of that opportunity came back. So it was a bit of a complicated period, but like at the end of it sort of came through.
At Hampton, you were there on loan for 2 years. That's a long time to go in a club on loan. They must have really liked you. You must have liked it there as well.
Yeah, so essentially, like I said, that first little spell that I had after Carshalton, Gary took me in, and for someone to put that much sort of trust in me at that level, like I was probably one of only a few boys at my age, sort of 18, 19, playing National South, and for him to put that trust in me and go, right, you're gonna come in for me and you're gonna do really well, was big confidence boost for me. So like he's another one where obviously he's helped me a lot with my career and pushed me on. So yeah, so I signed there, and then signed the season long loan after I went to Wimbledon. That was kind of like an agreement we had in place beforehand, that I'd sign at Wimbledon and then go spend the season on loan at Hampton. So I spent that season on loan there with Gary, and again like I really like should play really well. Was nominated for the Young Player of the Season and stuff like that. So had two good spells there, and then obviously a third one on my last season at Wimbledon. Had a short little loan spell, which unfortunately got cut short, but there's nothing I could have done about that. But yeah, three different spells and three different like very good times.
And it's a strange, football's a strange world, because you played with Was at Hampton.
Played with Was. It's mad, obviously, because that was when I was, what was that, when I was 19, 20? I think it was 19, 20. And then obviously he was like 21, 22. And then I've stayed in touch with him like the whole time. Like we're pretty good mates like throughout. But then like I got a message from him, and he was like, "Oh, I got a message from Paddy. Paddy had a little call with him and everything." I was like, "Oh my days!" Like football's a small world. Like meeting up in Northern Ireland again. So yeah.
That's crazy. Was Dylan Connolly involved at Wimbledon when you were there?
So, boys call me his boot boy, but I was never his boot boy. I was never his boot boy. So I was a scholar. I was a first year scholar when he was there. So like I used to do all the jobs around sort of the ground, and I remember him when he came in, like just the exact same player as when I first saw him play against, I think it was West Ham. I first saw him play like properly, and he was just up and down that wing and causing them the left back a trouble all game. So I was actually ball boy for that game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, you're a really hard man to research. When I was doing research, there's so much conflicting information online, and when I was doing the research, it said that your Wikipedia page says that you only played 3 times for Wimbledon, but I looked deeper and you played about 16, maybe even more games for
Wimbledon. No, I think I made 3 appearances in the league, and then maybe like a few other maybe like I think 6 or 7 appearances for Wimbledon in total. I was on the bench a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. But I didn't make that many appearances over there.
Did you ever feel you were going to make a breakthrough at Wimbledon?
That's the one where I would never really. I don't know. I just never really thought I would make the breakthrough there, because I think I was always thought of there as the academy boy. And I think that's the same for a lot of boys, where when you're coming through, you're always thought as the academy boy until perhaps you score a goal, do a little bit, if that makes sense. And it's hard to sort of put your stamp in that in a team, especially the Wimbledon team that was there at the moment. It was a new manager, Johnny Jackson, who had come in that season. We weren't doing the best. Like we had a good spell, to be fair, at the start of the season. But I think my other issue was that I just was a little bit unlucky with injuries. A week into pre-season, I got a hamstring injury. That kept me out for a month, and then the gaffer was actually really like he was really having me, I think, and I was training really well, so he put me in the Carabao Cup against Gillingham. We lost, but like I felt I had a good debut for sort of 20 or so minutes, and then I was like, confident was coming, and then there was a friendly game that we played against Brentford B, and then I tore my it was the same hamstring, and it was about a month later, almost a complete tear. It was a grade 3C, so like my luck wasn't quite there with me. And the worst part about it was Chris Gunter was he was due to be away for Wales duty that weekend as well. I think that weekend, so like I think I had a decent shot of being in the starting 11. So I think a couple of things didn't quite go my way there, but like I think the best thing that I did was obviously move away from just everything in total and just be able to reset here. So yeah.
That move then comes along last year on deadline day, and you're 21 at the time, and it's quite a big shout to move from, your home to Northern Ireland. Yeah.
I think what I was waiting for as well was, because I could have signed, I had a few options like close by in sort of the National South and a few things potentially National League, but like for me, I just wanted to just completely wait for. I think it was waiting for something that was right, and I heard like some that Glentoran was sniffing about, because obviously Warren Warren wanted me before at Welling on loan a few times. Actually, he tried to get me, I think, 2 or 3 times on loan. But then obviously he's come over here, and then he's heard that I'm still a free agent. So that's when obviously it got done here. But no, I think I wanted something that was completely different, completely out of my comfort zone. And yeah, when I saw this, that was it.
Well, how did you settle in, not just on the pitch, but more so off the pitch? Because you're coming here, you don't know anybody.
It was a bit of a strange feeling, but I went straight in. I was living with Junes last year, so Junes took care of me a lot, especially the first sort of couple of months. Like me and him, proper boys now. So always, he was taking care of me, and obviously I really appreciate that from him, because it helped me settle in a bit easier, a bit quicker. It's not too obviously language is the same and everything like that, so that's what helps, I think, a lot. If it was a different language, it might be a little bit more difficult, but June's really helped me settle in, and the boys were really welcoming regardless anyway. So it was at that point, really, it was more about getting myself fit on the pitch. And I was saying to you earlier, like, it's the same situation for a few of the boys now who have come in a bit later, like getting themselves fit and making sure they're firing. Because it definitely took me a couple months to sort of get myself together, and especially on the pitch. So yeah.
How hard is that to get fit without pre-season training, without the friendlies, without even on the training pitch work? How difficult is it?
Definitely not easy, because essentially in pre-season you're also learning how everybody plays as well, and it continues into the sort of the first sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 games of the season. You're still learning how everybody plays and everything like that. So like, not having that pre-season, not being able to sort of know like how sort of Junes plays, how Dara plays, and everything like that, and how the team plays as well. That's also quite difficult to sort of get the hang of. So it's really important for me anyway, like having pre-season, like so important.
And you probably have a lot of sympathy for the players this season that have came in, and you've got so many there, like Finlay and Danny Amos and Cody. Yeah, it's like there's so many, and Jars came in as well, and it's just trying to get up the speed. But you're really starting to see that now with some of them.
Yeah.
But then some of them just aren't getting the minutes, so it is tough.
That's also the issue, is that like, obviously in the pre-season games you can sort of just give somebody 45. Like you can't really give somebody 45 minutes in a league game. Like, and these games really matter. So it's not as easy. It's definitely not as easy to get minutes and get yourself up and running. So this is where I always say to like the fans and everything like that, whoever asks me like, oh, they're not quite I'm like, give them the time, like, because it doesn't just click like that instantly, not for everybody anyway. Some people it could take 6 months, some people 2 months, some people 3, 4, whatever. It might click straight away, but that's where I always say to everybody, just relax and like give them the time, and they'll settle in and everything like that.
It's a year to the day yesterday since you scored your first goal for the Glens.
Really?
Yeah, 1 year to the day yesterday. So
it's not cool.
Yeah, that's it. We're sitting here on the Monday before the game when this podcast comes out. So you got that monkey off your back fairly early, because it can really hang over a striker.
Yeah.
How did it feel to get that first goal?
The first one's always your most important one, and I think everybody knows that. Like, so you can get yourself up and running, and you're like, right, okay, cool, that's now gone. Now I can sort of kick on a little bit. I think I still had to wait, I think, another sort of month or so before I really sort of kicked in. But I think that Lockall game was the one where, like, I felt like I was like, okay, now I start to feel a bit sharper. And then obviously Warren started giving me more and more minutes, and then against Ballymena, it was Ballymena, wasn't it, that I made, like, I think that was my second start. And then after that Ballymena game, I never came out of the team. So yeah.
Well, in January last year, we really got to see a burst of form from you. You were flying. It was considered. You've just told me, I didn't know that this is your first full season playing a centre forward too. You looked like a natural, born predator up front. It was the goals were just coming.
Yeah.
The hat trick against Korean. That was probably the thing about the hat trick against Korean was Paddy McLean gave an interview in Belfast. in Belfast Live that week, saying that you were the worst finisher at the club.
Yeah. Do you know what? The thing is, like, that sort of came out, I think it was like Thursday or the Friday. And then Paddy, like, that was put into the group chat straight away by, I can't remember who it was, somebody put it in the GC. And then Paddy messaged me, he was like, oh, like, that's not what I said. They sort of twisted my words a little bit. And the thing was, like, I'm not somebody who will just be like, just get mad or angry at somebody for that. Like, I understand, like, how the papers work and everything like that. So, but on the other hand, like, you're like, I didn't really want to, like, obviously you don't want to be the name that somebody drops in. Do you know what I mean? So, it wasn't that I was trying to prove a point to people or anything like that. It was just literally that I think everything just came together that day, where just like the way the ball sort of fell to me for the first one, and then obviously the second goal took really well, and then obviously the penalty for the last one. So, like, I think everything came together, and it was actually quite, like, whether he likes it or not, it was actually quite funny to see the papers then put it straight back on the Sunday. So.
It was funny. It was just I just took it as banter at the time, and I didn't think it was anything more to it than that. But it was just, you were on fire that game, and then it just continued on. I think you went on a run then of scoring 10 goals in something like 8 games or 7 games.
I had a really good run. And that's the type of form that I'm looking to sort of kick on with now. Because obviously I think this year, I think I was saying to you before, I have slightly different, not role, but like, it's slightly different for me this year, not playing with Junes. Junes usually took the most of the hold up play. The balls were coming into him rather than me. Now the balls are now coming into me, and it needs to stick. And it's something that I knew coming into the season that I needed to tidy up on. I said it in another interview. It's my passing accuracy, my hold up play, my head in, my flick ons, everything like that, trying to dominate in those types of areas. And those were the types of things that I was trying to work on over the summer and make sure that that's all tidy, because I knew that this season I wasn't going to have Junes. So having Junes allowed me to sort of drop into the pockets, running behind, do everything that sort of I wanted to do. But I knew this year would be slightly different in terms of that. So like I said, now I'm looking to sort of kick on. And I mean, listen, like, I'm not gonna say my goal return's great or anything, but like, I'm not like unhappy with what I've done so far. I think I've really tidied up in different areas of my game, and I'm really happy. And I can see it in the stats in comparison to everybody in the league. Like, I have an app which I can sort of see like everybody's stats, and it takes it off Y Scout, and I can see like, all right, I'm really excelling in these areas. But these areas, is the areas that essentially make you a striker, are the ones, obviously, the goals, and that those, once they sort of come up, like, that's when I know, right, now it's all round, now it's all there.
And how do you feel about that role? Because obviously you want to be scoring goals as a striker, but I mean, Junior did it last year. I think Junior scored
16 last year.
Yeah, he scored, and in total, like, his sort of total at the Oval was pretty good, considering the type of player he was.
Yeah.
And he was really good at that hold-up game. He's one of the best I've seen, actually, at that hold-up game. He was very good. How do you find that?
I've started to embrace it a lot more. It's something at the start of the year I was, or even last season, like, it's something that wasn't definitely my best. I looked at my passing accuracy last year. It was average of like 60 to 65, in between 60 and 65%, like, on average, which obviously I wanted to tidy it up, and this year it's up to sort of, I think it's up to 70 to 75 to 80% this year. So I've really, really improved like 10 to 15% on that, which is something, like I said, I've really wanted to improve on. And the fact that now that I'm learning how to use my body, and then now, instead of fighting with defenders, I'm now trying to transition that into being able to just get a little yard, and instead of fighting with them, because people do want to fight in this league, like, I get that. So I've been speaking with Paddy a lot and trying to pop up in pockets rather than fight people. So that's sort of my next step for me, to sort of go to the sort of next level, I guess, is tidy that bit up and then keep building like that. So yeah.
So you mentioned, actually, I've got a question on the coaches and stuff later on, but you just mentioned Paddy there. What's Paddy like as a coach? Paddy McCourt. As a coach, what's he like? Because I've heard a lot of good reports, and he's quiet. You don't really hear much from him in terms of shouting from the bench, leave it up with Tim and Decky.
Leave that to Tim and Decky. Yeah, no, Paddy. I'm actually pretty close with Paddy in terms of after games. Like we just have a little conversations and just be like, right, this is what you didn't quite do on the weekend. This is where you need to tidy up. And like, obviously, as I just said, like the little bit where, in terms of like my hold up play, instead of fighting with boys, just grabbing that little yard, potentially getting on the half turn, stuff like that, and just little bits and pieces, especially on the Friday, like last Friday before Dungannon, telling me where I need to be and where I would get joy, and in the game, like actually got the joy from the areas that we was talking about. So I'm really enjoying working with him and everything like that, because obviously he was a great player himself. So getting like sort of the knowledge and the understanding from him was really good.
It's interesting that we talked earlier on about how Loughgall was the first game that you scored and your first goal in, and then that's sort of a game as well where it was disappointing for you because you're in such a big run of form, and then you got your red card. I actually watched that game back, not the full game. I watched the highlights back earlier on. I wanted to see if it was a red card. I couldn't remember, and I tell you what, see if you go back and watch them highlights, if anyone doubts how far along this team has came defensively, and from that game to now, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
But that must have been disappointing then for you to get that red card, and you were missing the Glen's biggest game of the season.
Yeah. That was it was really disappointing for me. I didn't, obviously that game, it really did hurt, missing that, watching that from the sidelines. Watching any game from the sidelines hurts regardless, but it's one of them ones where if a ref gives it, it's a red. If the ref doesn't give it and gives a yellow, it's a yellow. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Like VAR probably wouldn't overturn that, and VAR wouldn't overturn it to a red. So yeah. I think that's probably the best way to sort of say it. But it was, like I said, it was really disappointing missing that game, especially obviously as Decky was coming in and everything like that. So I didn't really get the chance to play in the first few games anyway. And then after that, I came in for a couple games, and then Coleraine, I think it was O'Donnell landed on my knee, and then my MCL. I had a problem with my MCL and my knee for a couple of weeks. So like, the end of the season wasn't obviously something that I really wanted. But it was, like I said, it was a little bit disappointing. But it sort of killed all of the momentum that I had going. So missing that game.
And obviously, when Warren left as well, when after that Loughgall game, and he's the man who brought you to the club, and it's never easy, I suppose, whenever the man who brings you to the club leaves.
No.
What was it like for you?
Warren, I've got nothing bad to say about Warren. Like, I still speak to him like today. It's like every once in a while, sort of check in like how he's doing. And obviously he still watches some of the games. He might hammer me or something, I don't know. if I've done something bad, but like I've got nothing bad to say about him, and he's helped me a lot. Like obviously when we was working together, he would obviously help me a lot. I'd go and ask him questions. What would you do in this situation? And he'd always tell me what he would do and how to be better, because obviously like we said, like that's my first season playing centre forward, so I'm still learning now. But even then, like I was going to him and saying, this situation, what would you do? Where do you want me to be? I want to score more goals in the box. Where do I need to be for here? This situation. So like he really helped me. And then obviously it was a real shame to see him go. But once he's gone, like just got to try and move on from that anyway. So.
And what was it like then when Declan came in? Because he's completely different manager altogether than Warren. So what was it like? Did you get off a good start?
Funnily enough, so with that local red card, I'll give you a little story. But with that local red card, I asked Warren if I could go on the weekend to see my family. So because obviously I was suspended, so he was like, yeah, you can go. And then on the Friday, as I was about to board the plane, we get a text in the group chat, and it was everybody needs to be in before the game, and it said suspended players as well. I was the only suspended player, so I was like, oh no, there's somebody new in. So I I was away back in England seeing my family, because obviously Warren let me, and I asked the club as well whether I could go, and they said it was okay. So, but obviously he's coming on the Saturday, and I think he was probably wondering where I was. So yeah, bit of a headache for him, but no, yeah. Listen, it was a good start, because obviously in training I could show him what I can do, and then obviously I didn't really get much time anyway after that, because I was still suspended for another couple of games, and then I got the MCL injury, which obviously really halted sort of momentum, and it's only really been this season that I've been able to sort of show him show Decky what I can do and everything like that, and develop that sort of relationship with him, to sort of keep progressing and keep pushing with the team and everything like that. So yeah.
But the summer was chaotic. It's just absolute chaos. 18 players out, 10 in. There could easily have been more in, to be honest. But how's that then for you? You know, you're one of the last standing with it's just a new squad. It must be like playing with a whole new team. Isn't it?
Yeah. Having that many players going, especially I was really close with Dara, and I was really close with June, so like seeing them two sort of go as well was obviously not ideal, but like obviously you get the new players in, you get to know everybody, and it's a process. I've not really been a part of one of these proper rebuilds before, where I've had to learn everybody's style of play, new names, everything like that. I haven't really been a part of that, so this is my first time sort of experiencing that properly as like a proper first teamer, and like I said, it's a process. Everybody, it takes time, and I think now we're starting to see everybody sort of come out and the team sort of gel together a lot better. So those are the signs that you want to see. You don't want to see obviously lots of keep losing, keep making the same mistakes over and over. So that's all getting tidied up now, which is obviously really good to see, and hopefully we can kick that on and go on a bit of a run now. So yeah.
But you were obviously subject to a lot of speculation yourself, sort of victim of your own success in that regards, because you were doing so well.
Yeah.
And Larne were clearly interested in you, and I think it was so late in the window that the Glens were just not. That's just unlikely that was ever going to happen. What was it like for you in that time frame when that was happening? I'm sure your head was.
It's a tricky one, because like you're seeing new stuff like every day, and then like on Twitter you're seeing different things, and then you're just like, oh, this is the first time I'm hearing of stuff, and then you're like, oh, like, is this true? Like, so it's a bit of a period where I think Decky managed it really well. He took me out the team for a couple of games against Portadown and somebody else. I think it was Coleraine or something. I was out the team for a little bit, because obviously, like, when you've got that sort of speculation around you, it's my first time as well experiencing that, and I'll use that to sort of learn in the future and make sure that things like that don't affect me anymore. But no, Decky managed it really well, took me out and made sure that my head was right, and then obviously those two games came back in against Carrick, scored the 2 goals. So like I said, it was managed really well, and yeah, like it was very clear with the way things were, with the stance of the club and everything like that. So that was that. And
the 2 goals against Carrick is sort of the best way you can possibly say to people, look, I'm here at Glentoran, and I'm wearing a Glentoran shirt, so I'm going to give everything for Glentoran.
That's the one thing that you want to sort of show to everybody, is that, look, I'm here to stay. I'm not my head's not away elsewhere, like I'm not going anywhere. So it was really good, and I think that day as well, I think I just had that little bit extra sort of in me, where I just wanted to prove a point, right? I am here, like I'm not going to be affected by that. I'm not going to let things affect me. So yeah, that was a good day.
Yeah. So then, looking at this season so far, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. The team obviously started a bit, I suppose you could say maybe started slow. They've got a couple of wins under the belt, and it's a bit inconsistent. I think that's how people expected this season to go. Yep. But we've got a bit of momentum now. Yep. And momentum's so important in football. I feel like the wins against Cliftonville and Linfield are massive, because it shows that we can compete with absolutely anybody in this league.
Yep. I think inconsistent sort of start to the season is probably the right way to put it. But saying that, now we've sort of gotten that little period out of the way. I think, like I said before, I really think we can start now really pushing on, because we've sort of got I think we've got a set team with players like knowing all their roles now, and players obviously settling down properly now. So like we said before, just really like now's the time to really kick on, and like who knows what this season will bring. Everybody's in sort of their own sort of little bits. Larne have got obviously Europe to look after as well, and try and do as best they can. And so there'll be lots of rotation. There'll be chances against them, like you've seen Dungannon and Ballymena get results down there. So like Linfield as well. Like there's some inconsistency there. Cliftonville too. Coleraine. Like everybody's got their own sort of little bit of inconsistencies, and that's where I think this season could be a really interesting one. But it's also, I think, I was saying this to Matthew Clark the other day before Linfield. I was saying to him, I really think the league between this year and last year, like the gap's just gone like that. Like in terms of the skill gap between players, like it's really, really closed up. All you have to do is look at Ballymena.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
They're really flying right now. Is it 12 on the spin? Something stupid.
I mean,
or 8 in the league at least.
I think I looked and I think that Jim Irvine had only won something like 9-10 games as manager in total before they played us.
Yeah.
And then they beat us and they've been on that mad run. But it's just so fine margins, because they're getting a lot of 1-0s, they're getting a lot of penalties.
No, that's it. But that's football, isn't it? Football's fine margins. So like, when it's going your way, you make sure you tip everything you can in your favour to get them results. And obviously football's a results business, so yeah, and that's not detracting from Ballymena, because to get penalties you have to be in the box, you have to be doing the right things, so score it.
yeah. Well, we're going to touch on that. So Saturday passed, obviously. That was a game of ups and downs for you. You missed your penalty. Are you the designated penalty taker, or was it
so this was what was a little bit of a thing. I thought I was on penalties, and then at half time people were starting to go a bit mad at me because I took the ball and everything like that, and I was like oh, what, who's the penalty? And obviously it's Jay that's the penalty taker. I didn't know.
Right.
That's a little bit of miscommunication there, but missed the pen. But listen, everybody does.
So. But it's what you did after then. So you came out in the second half and you scored your goal and you took it really well. It was a smart finish, and you played really well in the second half in general.
I think I had a decent enough first half. Like I know I had a couple bits and pieces were a bit loose, but like in terms of like danger, like I thought I was causing them real problems, and it was something where I had people sort of telling me, "Oh, don't let it mess with your head. Don't let it mess with your head." And I didn't really need that anyway, because like stuff like that doesn't really bother me that much. It's just always about getting the job done. So I had in my head anyway that I was gonna go and score regardless, because I said to myself before the game, I don't know, I just felt like I was gonna score, and I felt like I was gonna have a big part in the game anyway. So got the goal, started to hold the ball up really well, playing people through, stuff like that. So like confidence started to really flow.
It was really nice. There were some nice moments from yourself in tight pockets where you had 2 or 3 players around you. You seem to thrive in those sort of positions. Yeah,
I don't know. Like I'm not the smallest of boys, so but I do like to have a little bit of a dribble, and the boys boys love to get on to me for not passing, but I always back myself in my ability to be able to get out of them situations, and I love that sort of pressure and being under that. Like I feel like that's where I thrive under the most, when I really need to perform. I think that's where I really thrive. So being able to turn in them tight pockets and everything like that. Maybe I might need to pass it to Dills. Dills, I'm sorry if you're watching this. But, that's sometimes I do need to learn to just when to pass it, and when I can do that. So.
The atmosphere around the club has really changed in this last couple of weeks, and everyone seems to have a bit of spring in their step. Is that reflecting in yourselves in the training pitch and around the squad too? Do you feel it?
I think it was always there, like in terms of us, like as a squad, like we've always been quite like, you know, I think in terms of there's no like cliques or anything like that where people are in little groups or anything like everybody's with everybody. Like we're able to go out and like be with each other out of training, not just in training. So like for example today, me, Dan, Cammy, and who else was it? Millsy, going out for a brunch, whatever, like stuff like that. Like I know boys, like different boys, different backgrounds, all like going together. So like it's always there. Like it's just getting the results on the pitch to match that. So I never really had there was no issues or anything like that. But I think now that we're getting the results to back with it, it's all sort of coming together now.
Well, you've just bought a flat, you were telling me, in East Belfast. So you must be settled in Northern Ireland. Like you must really enjoy it here.
I really do enjoy it here. I was saying to like different people, like I've been in and out of London and everything like that, and it's like you can be sitting in traffic for like 50 minutes or whatever it is. Like I didn't, and on the trains as well before I could drive, just standing there with my backpack and my boots and that, like on the trains, didn't enjoy it at all. So like here I feel like it's a little bit closer to what I experience when I go back to the Czech Republic and see like my mum's family and everything like that. So apart from the weather, I really enjoy it here. And obviously I have Davey Stewart looks after me a little bit. He's been helping me out with the flat, and I got up the mountains with him, Richard, and Spud as well. Big Spud. So yeah, really enjoy it here. So yeah, the
fans have really taken to you as well, and you seem to get along with everybody. It's I know the supporters in the stand are big on you. Like they really like, and that must make you feel good that you have that backing.
I love hearing my chant. I can't like. I think it was Keith. I think Keith made that. I think it was Keith. So he made that, and like he like sends me sometimes videos on like Instagram, and like his kid like singing it or something like that, or like a message. I think his kid got like not shouted at, but like the teacher was telling him off for singing the chant in class or something. So like it's just little things like that. It's quite funny, but no, I've always got time for people and the fans and everything like that. So like I really enjoy it, because I really enjoy it here. So.
And the Czech Republic, like your mum's family's from the Czech Republic. That's obviously where the name comes from.
Yeah.
Because we were calling you David until one day Warren went on an interview and called you David, and everyone was like, "What's he talking about?
Who is he talking about?" Yeah. No, I've had that all my life. Obviously, England, everybody says David, but in Czech Republic, it's David. So that's where that comes from, and obviously I get called David a lot. So. I even still get people still call me David. Just slips out. Just like they say David. But yeah, no, it's quite funny always.
And do you go back to the Czech Republic quite a lot?
Every year. Every year I go back. I try and drive it if possible.
Drive?
Yeah, drive it. Yeah. when I was younger, we all like we did the road trip, because there was 5 of us. In the car, and we needed to obviously drive around sort of Czech Republic to go see family and everything like that. So I think it was just a bit easier just to hop on the boat and go hop in the car even and go to Czech Republic that way. And I've always enjoyed, like, I like driving, I like my cars, I like driving, so like I enjoy that anyway. And I like to go on the autobahn anyway. So
how long does that take?
14 hours, but takes me, I think it took me 11 or 12 last time I done it, so a little bit of speed on the autobahn.
crazy. So there's one last thing got to talk about, and it's your shorts. So yeah, I'm gonna have to explain to everybody. Now, I did read your interview during the week there, where you did explain it, but loads of people, this is raising a lot of eyebrows about these shorts. I did notice though you came on last week and you didn't have them pulled up.
Yeah, I've always sort of done it in training, right? So like I've always sort of done like the sort of the shorts in training. I've had them sort of rolled up. I don't even know myself why I did that, but it just felt natural to do it. But I did it I always do it in training regardless, and then I started doing it in a game and I scored, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then it was in pre-season, I scored against somebody, and kept doing it, and then people started asking questions, and it gathered a bit of attention. So I was just like, I might as well keep doing it. If people are going to keep asking questions, keep putting the spotlight on me, then I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? Some people are noise as well, like always get it, put your shorts down, stuff like that. Like, it's quite funny.
And are you a superstitious person? Do you have any superstitions?
Superstition wise, not really. I'm not really like mad superstitious, but like if I have like a really good game, like for example Coleraine, got the hat trick, I'll try and repeat what I did, like what I ate.
Yeah.
Something like the one thing that I think I've taken and is now like a proper ritual that I have is I have a Lucozade energy drink before every game.
Right.
And
sport or like a full sugar?
It's like the new energy drink cans.
Oh yeah.
They got those ones. So like I have one of those before games now, and because I did it against Coleraine, got the hat trick, and I just kept buying them and kept scoring. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep having these.
Your dad will still not be happy.
Yeah, definitely not happy with that.
Well, David, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thanks very much for coming on. Hopefully you continue scoring goals, and I know you're playing that new role, and hopefully everyone can appreciate that. But team's going well at the minute, and long may it continue.
Yep, long may it continue. Thank you.
Thanks very much once again for tuning into the Shout at the Oval podcast. I'll be back again very soon with another guest.